Hey y'all, welcome back to Finally Hill. My name is Matt. This morning is a beautiful morning, guys. This morning I woke up, it was 55 degrees. So it's nice, it feels great out here. It's great for firewood weather, right? Today's the first day that we're actually gonna put this new processor, cutting processor, to the test. This is not replacing a full-out processor. This is to help me process the little wood that is the bane of my existence, right? Alright guys, since the last video, the only thing that I've done differently is I took out some rollers. I took out some rollers in the middle right here. This idea came to me actually from John at Freaking Jeep YouTube. The idea was to take a couple rollers out, which these things are super easy to do. All they do is right here is, this is a push in. It pushes in and it just lifts right out, so it's super easy. He said one, because it'll let debris drop, so like if some bark or something came off, it would go down, as well as it lets the wood roll easier because it has less rollers to go on. So I took out the middle sections right here to allow for that to happen. Also, another good idea he had was if any of these rollers broke or anything, at least I'll have some spares, so that's super nice. So I left the front rollers here for support. I left the back rollers for support, and then I took out some middle rollers to help with debris and all that. We'll see how that works. I don't want to take out all the rollers because I really didn't know how strong each roller would be individually, so we're gonna do that. Oh, also I did add this to my marking tool, so I'm not guessing as much. We'll try that out, but everything else is the same. I did go ahead and split all the wood that I had here so we could test out how much wood I can cut and let drop before I have to start moving stuff, because that's the key here, guys. With a bucking table, it's great, you cut it, it does the measuring for you and all that good stuff. The only problem with it is you're picking it up after you cut it. It's not a bad idea, but this right here is the reason I chose this way instead of a bucking table, because the idea is I'll cut it, drop it, and never touch that piece of wood again until I'm splitting, right? So that's the idea. I've already got the lob deck loaded here. I just put a couple on here, couldn't get much more because these pieces are crooked, guys. Again, I'm not putting the nicest, neatest stuff up here on the video because I want to show y'all how it actually works in real time. I'm doing it for this crooked pieces like this, not the straight pieces like this. So with that being said, we're going to start with the crooked stuff, see how it works, and then I have all this sitting here ready to go. Another idea I had, obviously the lab deck is not that big, so I can't put all this stuff on it that I want, but I could stage it right here and pick the logs up by myself instead of with the tractor, just because they're all super light. All this is, you know, trial and error, so nothing's set in stone yet. I still have a couple adjustments on this thing. One that I could see already is we set the lab deck a little too far back. I really want the cuts to be right up here where this stand is. That way it could roll downhill and I could have more room there. But we did that because we didn't know how far out this is going to go. And this thing's super easy to move, right? So I think the idea is I'll just move it up and over just a tad, and that will be its final resting place over here. Enough of me blabbing about it, let's see it in action. So that wasn't a full round of logs on there. I think what we did 5 or 6. I got this last one right here. And eventually I'll have to find a place to put all this stuff so I'm not always reaching for it. Sometimes with the way these logs are, man, they roll too far, too close, so it'd be nice to have a grabber right when I want to stop it, you know? So that happens where it jerks like that. That's why I'm trying to get as close as I can to that so it doesn't do that. But that does happen. Also, when I put this back piece of wood right here, I'm gonna reinforce it to this or even reinforce this all together. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do yet. But like I said, this is all trial and error, guys. So far, so good. This is what we got cut up, what was on the live deck. The live deck is empty. So it's now time to refill the live deck. So this isn't how I'm going to traditionally load the live deck. I'm going to load it with probably pallet forks or my grapple. But because I had to move stuff out of the way, I've been moving stuff in wood yard. I got 4 loads this week, so I really have the room to put anywhere. So I said, well, I'll put it right here in front of the processor and I'll knock it out this weekend. So I'm going to go ahead and load this by hand. All this other stuff has big trunks, and I'll have to cut it, but we'll go ahead and go with this. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We could do 10 logs at a time. It looks like if I don't stack them on top of each other, which I'll probably do because I can pull them down with the pickaroon. We'll see how this goes. The next time I'll probably try to do, let's just say 20, stack them on top of each other and see if that's hard to do or if it's manageable. So let's get back to cutting. They were all this easy. So now we're getting to the point where these are getting in the way where I have to move them. Oh, another thing, guys, is this nut on the saw is getting loose, so I'm gonna have to get, I actually have a lock nut I can use to put on this, but this right here is spinning, so I have a lock nut in the garage. I'll end up putting that on there, and that should solve that issue. That live deck is empty. Y'all, this thing is awesome. This thing is quick. Holy cow. Well, the live deck is empty again. Here's our rounds. So, two things I got to fix. I got to put the lock nut on the bolt so it doesn't keep coming undone. Second thing I have to do is find a way that these rounds would discharge themselves, so that I can cut a lot more before throwing them. I mean, it's not the same as taking them off the table, bringing them over here and stacking them or anything like that. I'm just literally taking them and just chucking them out of the way. I mean, guys, the logs being right there versus right here is really no different when splitting. I mean, yeah, it's close. You don't have to take as many steps, but it's not that big of a deal. I'd rather not touch it twice and leave it just a little bit farther away than have it stacked and all that good stuff. So I'm just going to have to, basically every time I clear the table, I always have to clear the top few pieces off and then cut again, and we'll be good. So yeah, so far so good. I will have to move the table up just a tad bit so that, like I said, I can let more logs roll down this way, which will give me more time of cutting, right? The next thing I gotta do is I gotta get the Echo and cut up all these big pieces right here, because throwing that on there would just be foolish for me to wrestle around. It'd just be easier for me to cut those two pieces and load them up, and then cut that one piece out and throw it next to the splitter, right? But let's go ahead and get the rest of this cleaned up. I got it all cut up with the Echo. Now it's time to load it on the live deck. Alright, so I got everything up that I'm going to get up. The rest of it I'm going to cut up and then pick it up with the tractor like that one. Pick up the tractor. But we have the live deck loaded again. One did roll off when I threw it up there. So that's another reason for this backing plate that I need. But I stacked it up like that just to see how hard it's going to be to roll it down. So let's give it a go. Here we are. Here's what we got cut up. I'd say that's definitely a face core plus. Lob deck is empty. What I've left up here is stuff that I need to cut up, throw away, and then the big stuff I left with the tractor onto the lob deck. So that was our first run, guys. I'm actually really happy with that. That went very well. Obviously there's some kinks to work out. One, I gotta get the lock nut to put on the saw so that that nut doesn't come undone. Two, I like my measuring tool, but if I hit a log or something and it jerks, sometimes the measuring stick will fall off. Y'all probably will see that in some of the footage. I'm not gonna edit it out or anything. So that there are two problems for sure. And then the other thing is just trying to find a way so that whoever's cutting can keep cutting and doesn't need to touch the rounds that are being cut. Obviously, if I had someone else here running the splitter and one person running the splitter, one person running the saw, you'd never get backed up. They would just run together and you never get backed up. So that's the idea. I'm still finding ways that I can do it on my own so that I can cut and not worry about it. Some things I did learn that actually are going to work out is stacking the log deck 2 or 3 high is perfectly fine. I was worried it'd be hard to get the logs down, but with these little logs right here, it works great. So that helps me in the fact that I don't have to get on the tractor as much as I thought I would. Once again, if you're working with 2 people or 3 people, you could feed it 1 log at a time. It'd be much easier because the tractor could put it right there at the end. But for the sake of me doing it by myself, it's nice to know that I could stack that thing completely full. The last thing is I definitely need to put the the back plate right here on this conveyor so that no logs run off. Also, it helps with keeping the logs stable when sawing. So yeah, first run on the processor, it was a success. I'm super happy. I hope you like this video. I hope you can learn something from it. I'm super happy with this. That was a weird noise, whatever that was. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe. We'll catch you next time.